Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ask the Expert with Coach BJ and my expert tonight. Welcome, everyone. Come on in. Let us know that you are here so we can greet you if you so desire. I would love for you all to share this live as you come on. And I'm going to repeat it again because this is going to be a great talk tonight. So I'm going to wait till I start seeing some people coming in, and I see you guys are coming in already. Good evening, Shanavia Lang. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Good evening, Mom. Thank you for joining. I see you out there. The number just kind of jumped really big there. So I know there's a lot of other people that are watching. Let us know that you are here if you so desire. Good evening, Deidre. Thank you for joining tonight. And as you guys come in, go ahead and share this live tonight. Tonight, we're going to be discussing. Good evening, Deborah and Bella is watching tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Miss Sandra Smith, thank you so much for joining this evening. We're going to be discussing all things leadership. So if you are a leader, just getting into leadership, or have a desire to be in leadership, you need to be on this live tonight with my expert to really learn something about leadership. And, once I tell you a little bit more about my guest, you'll see why. So thank you guys for joining, and stop laughing, guest. Let us know that you are here this evening. Thank you so much for joining. Evangelist Denise Barrett, thank you so much for joining. Welcome. Good evening. Thank you guys for joining. So before we get started, for those of you who are new to Ask the Expert with me, I would ask that you go ahead and get your journal and notebooks out to be ready to take some notes, and also prepare yourselves if you have any questions or any comments for my guest tonight. Definitely put them in the chat. Once I open up and introduce him, I will be behind the scenes working the questions and making sure that we address any questions that you may have, any comments that you want to share with our guest this evening. So definitely get your notebooks and everything out for comments. Good evening, Auntie. Thank you for joining this evening. Again, I will see your comments. So I'm going to go ahead and open up. And as I said to everyone who's come on a little bit later, go ahead and share with someone who is a leader, someone who is getting into leadership, or someone who is thinking about leadership. We definitely want them to be in on this talk. And if you are watching a replay, again, you're going to be in for a treat. So our special guest tonight is author, entrepreneur, speaker, and minister, Rico Miller. And Rico and I actually grew up in the same church, and in most recent years, we have been able to share ideas, and he has been able to really give me great tips on business and coaching. And even though he probably doesn't know this, but I truly admire him with all the things that he has done to inspire people, and the work he does in his IT company, and the ability to juggle so many hats, much like myself. So I really admire that in him. And, he has so many gifts and talents. And so the reason why I say he is such a wonderful person to really hear from is because, again, wearing so many hats, I have the ability to do that. I mean, that's a gift in itself. So any tips, anything that even me, I'm going to be gleaning more tonight, from him, and what I can learn myself, being a leader myself as well, to be able to glean. So it's always good to really glean from someone who is already either where you want to be or currently where you're at, and you can really learn or get a few more tips that you might not have, otherwise have learned. So again, thank you guys for joining. Before I give it over to Rico, I wanted to share a little bit about him. Rico Miller has served at the helm as the CEO and president of the Atlanta-based software consulting firm, Universal Technical Services, so that's UTS. He is considered an astute businessman, visionary leader, and in the breadth of true entrepreneurial spirit, he has owned and operated several businesses and partnered with several major corporations. He is a certified executive leadership coach, which he helps empower others to reach their career and personal goals through practical steps and enrichment. He is also the author of the great book, Undo Unordinary. He is a native of Atlanta. Rico Miller has been committed to serving the community in his recently accepted role as senior pastor at Undo Ordinary Global Ministries and Boat Rock Community Baptist Church. And as a part of Reverend Miller's servant leader duties, he is a missionary leader, a teacher of purpose-driven leadership, discipleship, and evangelism, mentors the youth, and is a feet on the street minister when it comes to community outreach. Education is a constant pursuit for Reverend Rico Miller, who's completed his undergraduate bachelor's degree in business operations management from DeVry University. Following his undergraduate work, he completed a Master of Science degree in Human Resources from Keller Graduate School of Management. He also holds a Master's of Science degree in Divinity and a Master's of Science degree in Leadership from Luther Rice Seminary University. He is currently in pursuit of his doctorate in organizational leadership and behavior at Kent State University with a concentration on youth development. He is also the co-founder of the Seven Course Foundation, an organization that addresses social issues such as human trafficking, domestic violence, HIV/AIDS awareness. The foundation was created with the goal of empowering families to heal from within while developing healthy, functional individuals and families. Additionally, as a military veteran, he served 8 years in the United States Marine Corps. Don Moore, thank you so much for joining. So without further ado, guys, again, share. And I'm going to turn it over to my esteemed guest, Minister, Reverend, author, owner, operator, CEO, veteran, Mr. Rico Miller. Thank you so much for being here with me. And I will let you take it over right now.
Thank you for having me. Benithia just doesn't know that I look up to her. So I'm honored to be a part of her, anything that she's doing. So she's doing some great things, and I'm just excited to be a part of that as well. And I thank you all for joining also, because I oftentimes don't take the time to just realize all the things that's kind of going on around me. But I wanted to stop by and just talk to you all about extraordinary leadership. And I wanted to talk to you about extraordinary leadership from the sense that a lot of people don't really know what that means and how it can help impact their life by being intentional in extraordinary leadership. So again, I'm very excited. If you have any questions along the way, by all means, put those in the chat so I can definitely respond to those. But I'm going to take you through some of the things that I've gone through and take you through how some leadership tips, and also how you can now deal with extraordinary leadership post-pandemic. So I'm going to walk you through some of those things. I won't keep you long, but what I want you to do is be able to go on there and submit any questions that you may have along the way. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what is extraordinary leadership. Extraordinary leadership from a sense that it's the type of leadership that people stand out, who leads at a higher level, and a person who shows that they care. And the leadership makes decisions and sets direction and inspires others through a strong vision. Also understanding that a leader is able to not only take a vision, but they are also able to cast a vision and execute a vision. And that's the problem that most of us have in leadership, is we don't make the vision clear to the people that we're leading and directing, because we're not clear on it. We don't know really where we want to go, the direction and motto and vision and all those things that we're supposed to use for the company. We don't fully execute those things and carry them out through our day-to-day life in being an extraordinary leader. And anyone that is at a point where you are a leader or you want to become a leader, there are certain key elements as a part of that. There are certain key elements that you must move in and be able to walk in order to get people to trust you along the way. So again, I just want to take the time to kind of help you understand that as part of UTS, what we do is we help people to develop those things individually and collectively. We help people to be able to move in the direction that they want to move in, because we want them to feel empowered. And feeling empowered or feeling like you're walking in your purpose is relative, because studies show only 25% of the people in this world really know what their purpose is, or even feel like they're moving in it. And our company, what we do at UTS is we help people and companies move in their leadership qualities or the leadership direction, but in an extraordinary way, because ordinary leadership obviously is not working according to the way things are, especially after we've gone through the pandemic. So how do you as a person move? How do you as a person know what's the next step? How do you as a person know how to get results from moving in leadership? How do you now motivate your people and get the best results or get the best performance out of them? And again, that's what we do. We help people do that, right? So here's some of the topics that we look at as far as extraordinary leadership. One of them is redefining ordinary leadership. And that is basically saying, what is leadership to you? Where you are now, and what do you ultimately want to get to? And what, as within our company, what we do is help you map out those goals and move in that. And then the second thing is we also help you examine your relationship capital. So understanding that a lot of people don't know how to navigate through relationships. A lot of people they don't know how to take the relationships they have and use them to their benefit from a company perspective or individual perspective. And keep in mind, when we're talking about leadership, we're talking about leadership from an individual perspective and also an organizational perspective. Because as an individual leader, you have to now cascade that goal and vision throughout the company to the people that work for you or that's with you. Then if you don't do that, then they won't know how to move themselves. So we help you understand the relationship capital that you may have within the community, within the organization, and how to execute on how to better leverage those relationships. But the third thing is how to become a trusted teacher and partner. Because when you are a leader, you are a partner with the people that work for you. You are a partner for the people that you're helping move in the vision, because they have to trust you. And one of the first things we have to understand as a leader is the biggest thing you have to have is character. People, you don't have character and integrity, people won't trust you. So we help you find ways, and we have programs that help you develop that integrity and character where people can start to trust you, because that's one of the biggest things that you'll have to execute on. And people don't move if they don't trust you in business. So that's one of the things that you also have to understand. People do business and work harder for people that they can trust and feel like they can relate to. So that's one of the programs we have. But also we create a movement for personal experience, excellence. So excellence from a sense that not only do we want the organization to move, but we want to empower you to move in better places and to do more within yourself. So we help people within organizations, or help organizations create paths for people to grow and to get to the next level personally. We even do that within the church. Within our church, we have a path to kind of help people get to a point where they're growing, because we don't want people just sitting there at the pews and not doing anything. We want them to be able to move. And that's how your organization is. Pretty soon, as an organizational leader, you look at everyone and determine what their value is. You look at what are they bringing to the table. And then one of the things is, and you have to understand what they bring to the table, but you also have to understand that if you're not at the table, you're probably going to be one of the ones that's going to be talked away from the table. And what I mean by that is, if they're probably having a discussion about you and figuring out how they're going to get rid of you if they're not having you at the table. So we try to help develop a organizational platform for everyone to be able to feel value in the organization by growing their particular skills and growing personally in the midst of the process. Also, we help you challenge the organization to continuously improve. As a leader, you have to make sure that you're constantly moving and adapting to the environment that's going on in the climate of, for instance, within technology. Technology is a moving environment. It changes all the time. And by the time you master one thing, technology has moved on to something else. So you have to have a good finger on the pulse of all the things that's happening in your industry and what you're considered to be good at. We help you develop and keep an eye on that within your industry and move in that. So also helping people understand as a leader, the big picture. What's the big picture? What are we ultimately trying to accomplish? So we help organizations and leaders do that. So extraordinary leadership is now able to do all those things, but we're also able to anticipate the next moves. We anticipate what our competitor is doing. We're anticipating what the market is doing, but then we also are able to now say, let us create a plan. Let's execute the plan. And then we refresh the plan. So we create a path and a roadmap to do these things. But within UTS, we have these topics that we kind of talk about. And later on, what I'll explain to you is I'll show you how, or show you some of the programs at the core of leadership that we teach. So within extraordinary leadership, these are some of the topics that we teach. But let me show you some of the things that we do within this. So you may ask, Rico, what can I do from me personally? What can I do to get to a point of moving in extraordinary leadership for myself? Just from some basic tips that we have for a person. First thing I'll do is I'll start asking you basic questions on a few things. Where are you donating your time and your talents? And you must start by serving. That's the first thing that we do. These are some of the things that I found that are the low hanging fruit that our competitors, well, our users or our customers come to us and say, how can I get this? What's the next thing that I can do to become better and move? So we start giving these some of these tips, and here's 7 tips that I put together for that. So again, where are you spending your time? Where are you spending your talents, and are you serving? Because as a leader, you must understand that you don't work, they don't work for you, you actually work for them, the people within your organization. So you now may understand how to serve them, but you must understand as a person, how am I spending my time and talents? Because that's where my treasures are. That's where I find value in. So we teach you how to serve, but to do that from an organizational perspective and how your organization can serve as well as you can serve individually. But also, what you must be able to do individually and within the organization is be able to listen to feedback. You have to be able to listen to feedback because you have to hear what the people are saying, and you have to hear what the people within your organization are saying. Because as you look at, we have to look at what your customers are saying. Because extraordinary leadership, we are always concerned about our customers and the people that work within the organization. We always are concerned about what they're thinking and what they're doing, because we want to make sure they feel like we care and they feel like we are involved or care enough about them to make sure they're okay in the midst of the process. But the third thing I think that we teach also from basic concepts is you have to surround yourself with positive people and leverage relationship capital. You have to leverage your relationship capital and make sure that you are saying, who do we want to get to as an organization? How do we want to move as an organization? And ultimately, if we don't define what that looks like, we don't know the customers. We just are not at a point where we're clear and have a direction on what we want to get to. So every organization does kind of a consensus, and they do a who do we want to target and who is our product for, and who do we ultimately want to make sure that this product we have solves a problem for this particular type of people or people as a whole. And basically, you have to surround yourself with the type of people and leverage the relationship capital that you have. So that's the third thing. But you have to start with conversations with new people. That's the fourth thing. You have to start with conversations with new people, because you now have to get out of your box, and you now have to not do the things you've always been doing, not do the things that have kept you comfortable. In order to move to the next level, sometimes you'll have to move to a point where you have to now engage people that you may not have engaged before and get to a market that you may not have engaged before. So that's the fourth thing. But also, you have to explore your interests. In order to explore your interests, you have to know what makes you comfortable, what excites you, what gets you to a point where you want to move. Because when you actually get to a point where you understand what excites you and what's your interest, that'll take you right into step number 6, because then that'll help you understand you have to consider the injustices that bother you. So once you figure out what interests you, now you have to figure out what bothers you in the community and move in that. Now you have a passion for helping people that are at alcohol and drugs. You have a passion for helping people within the ministry. You have a passion for helping people, single mothers. You have a passion for those things. And we help you develop those things and kind of flush those things out as you go through the process of looking at these basic tips of leadership that you have to now embrace. But also, you have to discover what you do love and what you love and what you would do for free. When I first started out in ministry, I started preaching and I says, I want to make sure that I'm not doing this out of just greed or just because of the fanfare show. So for the first 5 years of preaching and teaching, I would actually get paid and give it right back to the church. So for the first 5 years, my commitment was to do it for free. So now I do ministry because I love it. If I didn't have to pay bills, I would do it for free. But you have to find something that you love, and you would do it for free. And now you start to get to a better place of understanding your purpose. But here's the thing. Now, sometimes when you do find the things you do love, that's when you begin to monetize it and begin to make it to your benefit. So that's how you have to do as a person or as an organization, is now start to understand and massage those things that make you want to do it and help others. So that's how we begin to help people to move in their individual purpose as well as their organizational purpose. So now the other thing is, what's happened now with the pandemic, and how do we expect to move? And what I mean by that is, because you have the pandemic, how has leadership changed? How has the leadership landscape changed throughout this time. And one of the ways it's changed is you have to now become a strategic executor of all these things. So now you have to be more strategic because the pandemic has caused us to do business in a different way. It's caused us to do church in a different way. It's caused us to move in a different way. So now as you begin to move in ministry, as you begin to move within your organization, and now you begin to move in extraordinary type of leadership, that's when you begin to say, I have to do it differently. And now how can I strategically move in that? So here's some of the steps the way you do that. Become a humble hero. And a humble hero is basically understanding what it takes to solve problems, and what problem are you solving within your organization? What problem are you solving to help people? What problem are you solving to be able to be sustainable in the industry? What makes you different from any other organization? Extraordinary leadership. You are a visionary. You think further than what you see right now. You think further than the current situation. And you have to now empower others to think that way. You have to empower others to think from a perspective of how could I be better as a person? But then here's the thing that pandemic has helped us as well. We have to become tech savvy humanists. And what that means is now you do more things from an automated sense. Church now, a lot of it is online. A lot of the older churches were not able to sustain because they were not tech savvy. They didn't have the infrastructure support being online. A lot of organizations, their technology became outdated once things went more technical from the pandemic also. So now you have to be at a point where you are willing to accept and embrace change because now technology is taking over. The fourth thing is you have to be a tradition innovator. And basically you have to innovate new ways to do business, innovate new ways to come up with how you're going to get to your customer, how you're going to be able to move with your customers. So all those things are great, right? But here's the biggest thing I think that people have to move in, and that is having a high integrity leader. You have to have a high level of integrity because people are going to challenge you on it. They're going to test you on your leadership style. They're going to test you on if you're going to tell them one thing and do another. They're going to test you on these things because they want to make sure that you are doing what you said you would do. You're carrying out the things you said that you would. You're investing in them. You told them you would invest in them. Are you doing that? Because now it's all about, we don't want to hear what you have to say. We want to hear what you actually do. And that's how leadership is. People want to see what you actually do because they're watching you. Everyone's watching you. Everyone's watching your move. And you have to sometimes be at a point where when you have integrity, you have to understand how many times can you say, I'm sorry? How many times can you say, I made a bad decision and here's why? How many times can you admit that you're wrong? Because a lot of times people think that we have all the answers, or we feel like we have all the answers, and that may not be necessarily true. One of the biggest things as a leader for me was admitting that I was wrong and having them say, think that they may think less of me as a leader because I've admitted I made a mistake. But actually, my people gained more respect for me because I was able to now convey that I was wrong, and I came across more human because I was able to do that. And also, here's the thing, to globally minded localists, and basically you have to now think bigger and broader than where you currently are. And I've worked for companies such as Deloitte, AT&T, Icon, Ericsson, Rico Copiers, a lot of different Fortune 500 companies. And what I found is all of these things that I'm talking about now are things that no one, a lot of the people didn't move in or didn't understand as I was there, and lost a lot of trust in them along the way as far as leaders are concerned. So based upon my experience, I tried to carry that over to my company and to my church, where I try to make sure that they understand what I'm about, what I try to be transparent. I try to be at a point where people kind of can see some of the struggles that we may go through in the midst of the journey. And also from a sense that within the one of my organizations, a gentleman said, well, I don't do that well, so I'm just going to kind of bow out of that. And it was a presentation he had to do. And I told him, he says, I'll step down. I says, no, I don't need you to step down. I need you to step up. And the reason why I told him he needed to step up was because he didn't understand the impact that it had on the rest of the team and the rest of the people within the organization. So I tried to help him understand that, and help him understand that if you don't do the work, you put more pressure on us. So again, as an extraordinary leader, now you have to empower other people and help them see the things that they can bring to the table, but also help them to understand the impact that they have on an organization and how everybody is needed, everybody's wanted, and they are a very integral part of the success of the organization. So some of the things that we do in that is I've developed a curriculum, and the curriculums we speak on and deal with several different platforms or several different curriculums. One of them is we talk on extraordinary-based leadership, we talk on purpose-based leadership, adversity-based leadership, diversity and inclusion, change management, and post-pandemic leadership. Those are some of the key areas that we teach individuals and corporations on how to deal with and how to basically incorporate and infuse these type of practices within their organization. And also within the course, we do leadership assessments, we do goal setting, team and individual executive coaching as well. So all of those things are some of the things that come out or as a result of some of the things that we do when we are presented with the individual and organizational coaching along the way. So from that perspective, we try to make sure that everyone understands how to move, and we develop a path for them to move into extraordinary leadership, even when they have no idea of the next steps. And also from a purpose-driven leadership, the organization has, well, I've basically written a book called Undo Ordinary, and it's basically the 8 keys to unlocking your purpose to help you understand how to move in your purpose individually. And what it does is it comes from a biblical-based background, but it helps you to move at a place where we create tangible steps, and you create goals, and you set goals, and you are able to see where you are, engage where you are in the midst of the 8-step process. Because all of us are at different stages of life, and all of us get to a point where we made excuses as to why we are not where we are or where we think we should be. But I try to make sure that people understand that they are just, we all are human, we all make mistakes, and we all have fallen. But how do we get back up, and how do we move in the direction that we feel like God has given us to move in, or walking in our purpose? Because most of us, again, don't know our purpose, and we don't understand how leadership works today. And given post-pandemic, a lot of the things have changed along the way. A lot of the way we do business and leadership has changed. So what I try to do is within my organization is make sure people are able to, again, walk away empowered and create a goal and strategy, and that we create measurable results. And another thing I think as leaders is we don't create a clear direction and focus on what we're doing. Within our church, one of the things we do is we love, lead, and train. So anything based around that, we are focused on discipleship, evangelism, and community involvement. That's clear. From a leadership coaching and lecturing or teaching perspective, we do leadership-based strategies that drive performance. So when we go to an organization, we help them understand that as we implement these plans, we're going to be able to measure your performance and increase your performance along the way, and be able to create more strategies for you to be sustainable long-term for your organization. So that's pretty much how my organization does. And also be able to, you can go on uts-i.com and look at our technology company and look at some of the things that we do. But also this is the place too, where we actually, you can sign up and reach us as far as getting coaching for your organization, creating a training program for your organization, because all programs are customized. So we try to now make sure that everyone feels and gets the same level of value, because everyone's at a different stage. So we go in and we do an assessment on each organization or the individual as well. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to address any questions at this time. Hope I haven't bored you too much. So how quickly can your organization get scheduled for any of these training courses? Oh, we can do that very quickly. I appreciate the question, Don. We can do that very quickly. And what we do is we do a quick assessment with you, and we basically ask you, what does your organization need? And then we say, hey, it'll take us about a 1 to 3 to 10 week, whatever that time frame is, type of curriculum to be able to develop for your organization and help you move forward with it. So we can do that relatively quickly. We can ramp up relatively quickly as far as that's concerned. Any other questions? No questions. This is good. I know it wasn't covered all the questions, but yeah. If you have any questions or anything, by all means, like I say, continue to put them in the chat. And Bernithia, that again, that's all I have for this evening. I just wanted to. How long are the training sessions? Great question, John. Those training sessions are, again, very customized depending on the size of your organization and depending on the level of depth you want to go as far as what you're trying to get from a result standpoint. So we look at the overall goal and we develop that. Typically, training can typically last from 1 to 2 weeks from just an average start from the ground up type of curriculum. Yeah. How small or large can the class size be? As small as large as you want. Basically, we can train from one person to as many people as you want. So it's an unlimited amount. And that's what determines the part of the size, as far as how long it will take is based upon how many people and how many hours you guys have to dedicate to that. Given that there's a lot of work that needs to be done within your organization, we try to narrow that down as far based upon what you need, what your needs are.
Awesome. Is there any other question? Now, Shanavia so beautifully put your link to your book in the chat. So, but it's on Amazon. You can Google it. I mean, a lot of us that are connected to Rico has his book. So there was a lot of comments about how, life-changing the book is. And so just how it was such a great book. And I mean, the points that you gave this evening was really good. I mean, for me, what stood out always, the two biggest things that always stand out for me, because everybody who knows and follow me is that I'm all about purpose. Mm-hmm. And servant leadership is really big. I don't think a lot of leaders really realize how important servant leadership is. Another thing you mentioned was integrity. You have to lead with integrity. People are watching you. If you are in a position of leadership, you want to act with integrity. People will trust you. They will follow you, but they can't follow you if you're not transparent, authentic, and walk with integrity for sure, Yep. And, the last thing is just really loving what you do. That was the other thing that stood out for me is just, oh my God, it's nothing like waking up like myself and get to do and not have to do. Yep. I get to live this life. I get to be a coach. I get to help people. It's a beautiful thing when you can really get to a place where you get in a place where you get to do the things that you love. So I appreciate you sharing all of those wonderful tips. They were really great. I was taking notes and put my little stuff down myself too, as well. You really brought out some really great things. And if you guys are interested in connecting with Rico, his information is going across the bottom of the screen. I know he shared it at the end of his presentation, but definitely wanted to give you an opportunity to capture his information once again. And is there any other comments or questions for him? I mean, you really did a great job. It was very kind of, bullet pointed and sweet and to the point for sure. You definitely expanded on each point very well. So, excuse me. But again, if anyone have any questions, we would love to answer them for you as his information continues to go across the screen. As always, we thank you guys for watching. If there's not any other questions, we will let you guys go. We appreciate you participating. I always appreciate the love and support. I hope that, again, I continue to be able to bring you wonderful tips and information from experts like Rico. Again, thank you so much for watching. And if there is nothing else, I don't see any other questions in the chat. We thank you for watching. I love you guys as always. And so you have a good night. See you next time. Bye.